Hello everyone and welcome to today's lineup. We have a few updates on cases we talked about yesterday and a few new stories to cover. So grab the popcorn and let's get started. R. Kelly is back behind bars for failing to pay over $160,000 in child support. This comes right after the shocking Gayle King interview, which we've seen more of today. King interviews Azriel Clary and Jocelyn Savage, who are both girlfriends of Kelly. Both Clary and Savage's family believe the women are brainwashed by Kelly and have been vocal about this publicly. They are featured in the documentary series Surviving R. Kelly, which I mentioned yesterday. Both women claim to be there of their own free will, however, King notes during the interview Kelly was nearby and seemed to cough to prompt questions answered in certain ways. Kelly was not meant to be present during the women's interview, however, after the interview started, he came into the room. The women state that their families are trying to get money and scam R. Kelly by these accusations. After 2 years of no contact with Savage and her family, Jocelyn contacted her parents through their lawyer today, stating that she was happy and she will meet with them as early as next week. The Savage family has requested a mental health evaluation for their daughter. Clary and Savage are both in their early 20s, and whilst Kelly is 52 years old. I'm sure there'll be more to come. Well, that 5-hour interview with Chris Watts has been released and it's been met with mixed opinions. I personally listened to all 5 hours and took notes so that I could share the details with you. The following information is of a sensitive subject matter. Please be careful with your heart. This 5-hour interview was conducted in February by members of the FBI, CBI and Frederick PD with the purpose of getting answers on what happened in the lead up and on the night of these horrific murders. Apparently Chris Watts is unique and different when it comes to family annihilation because no one saw it coming with him. I know the feedback from people is that they weren't impressed by how the law enforcement was with Watts. They were so friendly. But you have to remember, stroking the ego of a narcissist will get you further than challenging them. Here's some points for you that I took away. Nicole Kissinger, the mistress, she knew Watts was married the whole time. Watts doesn't speak to her anymore and denies that she played any part in the killings. Watts has now found God in prison and reads the Bible quite a lot. He believes that this was a snap moment of rage and he couldn't stop himself. He said that point several hundred times during this 5-hour interview. He claims that he was always nervous around Shanann and felt more like himself with Kissinger. Watts' parents still believe that Shanann killed Bella and Cece. That may change as he's about to tell them the details of how he did it. Watts took a plea to save everyone from the trial, and he really did take a battered husband/victim defense and tried to paint himself in that light compared to Shanann, who was overpowering. Now to his version of events. Personally, I take it with a grain of salt because, I mean, come on, it's Chris Watts. Watts states that Shanann comes home around 2 a.m. They have sex and go to sleep. Watts' alarm goes off for work around 5 a.m. and he wakes Shanann to tell her that their relationship isn't going to work and he doesn't love her anymore. Shanann repeatedly says there's someone else and tells Chris he will never see their children again. Watts then strangles Shanann and she doesn't fight back. Bella walks in afterwards and asks, "What are you doing to Mummy?" and "Is Mummy okay?" Watts covers her with a sheet and takes her downstairs and loads her into the floor of his truck. Cece also wakes up and he loads the girls into the truck. They drive to the location. Watts moves Shanann out of the truck. Then he covers Cece's face with her blanket and strangles her. He does this whilst Bella is sitting next to them. He puts Cece in an oil tank. Devastatingly, Bella then asks her dad, "What happened to Cece?" and "Will the same thing that you did to Cece happen to me?" Watts then repeats his action and smothers Bella with a blanket. Her last words are, "Daddy, no." Watts reports that Bella thrashed around a lot. He then places her in another oil tank. Watts claims that this was all spur-of-the-moment thing. However, there really was no why when it comes to those two innocent little girls. He blamed Shanann a lot for his built-up rage. But why those girls? If it really was a crime of passion, they would be alive today. There is some new information on the details of Preethi Reddy's murder and her ex-boyfriend, who police believe killed her. Dental clients of Harshvardhan Naan, Reddy's ex-boyfriend, have called the man invasive and cruel. Patients claim he had no time for anxiety and asked abrasive questions in a really abrupt manner. Police believe Nard killed Reddy in a jealous fit of rage and stuffed her body in a suitcase in the back of her car. Just before Reddy's disappearance, she told Nard that their rocky 5-year relationship was truly over, as she was with someone else. Alok Nard, Harshvardhan's brother, spoke out publicly about his death. Dr. Nard said Harshvardhan spoke his last words to a close friend who called him just minutes before the crash. Harshvardhan stopped his car on the roadside to take the call from 9:45 p.m. to 9:48 p.m, Dr. Nard said. He concluded the conversation, assuring the friend that he was dropping his plan to go to Sydney and returning back home to Tamworth. The Nard family don't believe he had anything to do with Reddy's death. In an interesting discovery, it has been revealed that George Pell, the disgraced and convicted Cardinal of the Catholic Church, has met Australia's very own female Hannibal. In 2009, Pell toured Australia's biggest maximum security prison to meet inmates and watch them perform for him. There he met prisoner number 310081, whose file is marked never to be released. And who is that? Well, it's Catherine Knight. In 2000, Catherine Knight killed her then partner, John Price, by stabbing him 37 times. But that's not where the story ends. Prepare yourselves. The abattoir worker Knight then flayed his body, hung a skin suit from a meat hook, and boiled his head on the stove with vegetables and gravy. Oh my goodness. She then set name places for Mr. Price's children who, thank goodness, never witnessed that scene. If you take a look at that picture shown, you'll see Knight's hand on Pell's shoulder. Two very depraved Australians who shocked us with their actions. So awful. And finally in the news, something a little lighter, but it's also about cannibalism in a way. That coincidence actually wasn't planned. A wild video has surfaced of an Aussie eastern brown snake, that's one of those scary venomous ones that will actually kill you, eating a rat and a python. The poor harmless python had caught the rat and was just about to tuck into his meal when the eastern brown decided it had a better plan. It seems in Australia not even the snakes are safe from other snakes. I'm not going to mention the outcome because I think this video has been full on enough. And that's today's lineup. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much everyone on the support for yesterday's video. Don't forget to subscribe and like below. Please feel free to comment below any cases or news stories you'd also like me to discuss next time. Bye for now.